I love that after he fed the 5,000, this incredible miracle, of course, everybody wants to follow him. And he sends his disciples away at this point. He says, just get in this boat and go. And he in one of the Gospels, it says that he knows they want to make him king.
Right.
They want to give him that power, which he knows is not what his father's will. And he retires to a mountain. He goes up on a mountain to be alone. And I think that is so valuable for each of us. We aren't the Savior, but we do need to take time to be alone, to put our priorities back into shape, to see with clarity our purpose, which he does. Meanwhile, his disciples are in the ship on the water and experiencing a terrible storm, and it's very miserable. And at the fourth watch, they say, which is, I think, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Right, between 3 and 6.
Yeah. They look and they see someone, because they don't recognize him at first, walking on the water. And there are different things. He always says, be not afraid. But I love where he says, be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. I love that reminder to not only not be afraid, but to be of good cheer.
Oh, that is wonderful.
We have a dear friend, Vern Kendall. He worked with my husband for a long time, and Vern had many challenges in his life. But whenever I would talk to Vern and say, hey, Vern, how are you? And I'd know something pretty challenging had happened. Vern would say, couldn't be better.
Oh, I love
and
that.
I love that ability. I have a lovely young woman who works with me, Dallas, and I'll say, how are you, Dallas? And I know she has many challenges. She'll say, fantastic. I take that as a wonderful gift, this ability through the thick and the thin to be of good cheer. And I love that at that moment when they think, things are going crazy.
There's a storm.
There's a horrible storm.
Right.
That be of good cheer. I am here. It is I. I love that. And I love then that Peter, once he recognizes it, says, let me come to thee. If it is you, let me come to thee.
Yeah.
Isn't this what we all want? We want to come to the Lord. So he steps out onto the water, which
It's
could
pretty
feel
incredible.
Yeah.
Right? Pretty miraculous.
Stepping out, and where
And
men don't go.
At the beginning.
Doesn't sink.
No.
And then he looks around and sees everything and begins to sink. And the Savior says, you need to have more faith. You need to have more faith. I think this is a great lesson for us in life. I'm thinking even of my sweet father, who was not a devout man on earth, though I think he was certainly led by the Spirit in much that he accomplished and much that he did. But he used to say, because, he came to America as a penniless immigrant after a harrowing set of life experiences. He accomplished a lot, but he used to say, I just put my foot out in thin air and then bring the other one up to meet it.
Oh, I love it.
And I love this because my dad may not have understood what his faith was in, but he somehow had faith to push himself forward to accomplish things that were important. And I believe that many of the things he accomplished were the Lord's will in this life. I think that this is for us too, that we need to have faith, and we need to hold on to that faith and move forward in faith.
I agree. A matter of fact, I just have a kind of a funny story about this, in that when I was young, I was probably 10 years old. It was after I was baptized, and we lived in California at that point, and my parents had a big pool in the backyard. And I had just been reading this story of Peter, and I just thought within myself, I just was contemplating and just said, well, maybe if I have enough faith, I could walk on this water. And it was such a stark reality, of course, when I stepped out and fell right down to the bottom of the pool.
But you could swim, right,
But
Marianna?
I could swim. Yeah, it was just fine. I could swim. But I think sometimes too, I learned from that. Initially, I was like, well, maybe I didn't have enough faith. Maybe I just, just like Peter, maybe I didn't have enough faith. But I also learned about this that doing the Lord's will. I was doing something that I just wanted to see if I could do it. I wasn't doing the will of the Lord. I wasn't seeking his will in order for this miracle to happen. And I think that's also something that I learned from that experience as well.
But Marianna, I love that with your childlike understanding of these stories, this is a perfect story for a child who, when she was baptized at 8, knew it was true and never has faltered. That has been her path. That you read this miracle and you thought, okay, let's try it. I love it. I love it.
And it didn't shake my faith. I guess that's the thing, too, that we need to see about this is that even though, the Savior kind of chastises Peter afterwards, Peter's faith does not falter. If anything, I think it strengthens Peter's faith and enables him to be stronger in his faith.
And allows him to acknowledge where he let go a little, where fear entered in, and how fear can obstruct our goals. And I think that it's really important, I love the story of you stepping on the water in the swimming pool. I love it. But I love it for a reason also that is a broader understanding, because, when Jesus comes both to Nazareth and to other places where they want him to do the miracles they've seen in places, he says, no, it is not for me to do those miracles here.
Right.
And he also chastises